So if y'all don't know who this beauty is sitting next to me, honey, when I say I read something, it was a little spicy.
What did you read?
I read something, it was a little spicy.
Just a little bit?
Yes. Listen, we're going to have to talk about this professor.
Oh, that's the one you read. Yeah, that was the one I was working on that time when you were saying, like, what's got you stressed out? And I was like, I don't know. I don't think there's enough smut in this.
He didn't listen. I thought the professor was kind of corny until I said, is he banging everybody?
In the longer book he is, yeah. That's the
So,
type of
okay.
professor he is. He teaches
So
more than just English.
let me just ask you a question. Is it easy to write SMEX? And SMEX is, y'all know what it
Yeah.
is, just take out the N.
Specifically that, for me, absolutely. It's very, very easy. Yeah.
And I recall a conversation where we were talking about a particular lifestyle.
Hmm.
And we were trying to fit where we took that test to see where we all fit in.
Hmm.
And you and Storm were going back and forth. You was like, I'm absolutely a brat.
Oh, that lifestyle. Got you. Okay.
And this girl was absolutely what? A brat.
Hmm. She
How did
was.
I know how did I detect that?
Well, probably because of the way I wrote it. I wanted it obvious to the people who were familiar with that particular world, to recognize a brat when they saw one. There originally, when I wrote it, there was a lot more of that particular world in there,
Mm-hmm.
but I only had 75 pages and I couldn't develop it the way that I wanted it to. And I don't, that community, we get let down a lot. So I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
put it all in there and not be able to show it justice. So I just kind of dropped some Easter eggs and then left it at that.
So, what's your writing preference? What genre is your preference?
Horror and adult contemporary.
No,
Nothing
no,
what
sir.
I really write. Well, I write horror, but yeah.
No, I'm talking about the adult contemporary.
Yeah. That one, that's how I started. There was a professor, nothing like the professor I wrote about, when I was in college, who was just horrible to me, really broke my spirit. And I just said, I don't want to be a writer anymore. And then after I graduated college, I kept trying to write, but I just had this mental block because of the things that he did and things that he said. And
Mm-hmm.
then out of the blue, he sent me a package saying, with it was with my story in it. It was a creative writing course. And he says, "Oh, I apologize. I completely misunderstood your story and I didn't do it justice. Um, I was too harsh." And then he gave me a better review and he gave me an A. And I'm like, well, that doesn't change the grade I ended up with when I graduated. And it doesn't change the fact that it kind of broke my spirit. And it was more of a racial thing where he didn't understand Black women and the struggles that we go through. So he graded it all the way down to like a D. And it cost me my scholarship because of that. And there was nothing I could do because at the university, it's whatever grade your professor thinks you deserve, that's what you get. And so for him to come back after I graduated to say, "Oh, I didn't get it." Well, it's because he had moved to an area, a metropolis where there were a lot of Black people. And I guess he was able to hear things from another perspective and realized that's what this story was. Apparently, what happened was he had left the story out because he was unpacking. And one of his friends had a Black girlfriend. She came over, she saw it, she read it, and she cried. And he was like, "If this is so moving for you, then what did I miss?" And yeah, so that's why I don't really write it. I'm easing back into it. I have a few that are going to drop this year, but yeah, there's a mental block there I'm still working through because of that professor. So be nice to your students if you're a writing professor.
Listen, do we need an address? We need our what do we need to
I have
do?
his address because he mailed it back, but yeah, I couldn't tell you how many times I thought about it, but I
So
prefer my freedom over revenge.
one thing that I found out is we live in the same city.
Yes.
We are Bay Area girls. Did y'all know that?
Yeah.
Look when you talk to people and they nice to you and you try and be nice to them, you find out stuff.
Yeah.
So what you made a comment and I caught the tail end of it.
Mhm.
Are you not going to be writing no more after you finish this?
No, I'm done. My last new release, that means something that I've just written, will be October 31st. Anything that comes out after that is something that's already been written. I'm just designing book covers and doing final edits on it just to make sure that it's readable. Some of the stuff is older, so I want to like change out the brand of the vehicle, for example, or change out who's president, even in some cases, and then just release it. But yeah, I'm clocking out early.
But why? You have
Um,
such an your pen is so uh how can I put it? It's relatable. It's easy, even though it might be a little naughty. But why?
um,
If that's
well,
too personal, you don't have to
to
answer.
be honest, I was only supposed to drop one indie book. I am a ghostwriter. I do write under a different pen name for other people who are traditionally published. So because of that, I can't say who it is. But I was only supposed to do one book, and it was just for, pardon my French, but for shits and giggles. And so it kind of caught fire, and then I kept going. But then the space that I'm in, that I write in, has not necessarily been a positive space for me, present company excluded. But it hasn't been a very positive experience for me, so I just kind of felt like, I don't have to do this. I can, I have a lot of talents. I'll do something else. So just trying to
So,
get out of it while I still have my sanity.
so do you want to share some of the other talents that you? Because I mean, I find it interesting. You want to
um
share, or are you
well,
okay?
people already know I'm a voice actor. Been doing that since I was about 8.
Mm-hmm.
um I am an intimacy coordinator. So I've been on film sets, and I've been picking up a lot more steam lately as far as getting, because of the whole Blake Lively thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been dispatched a lot more frequently now. So there's a lot of other things that I'm doing. Um, and I've been asked to write screenplays and shows, but it's just, I don't know. The writing space isn't what it used to be. So maybe it'll be different on television and film. I might give that a shot, but it just depends.
Okay. Okay. So you mentioned that you were writing in college. When did you fall in love with writing, or when did you start your writing journey?
I was writing short stories at about like, oh God, 6 to 8, like little fun stories. I didn't start getting serious with it until about 13, which was poetry, like so many girls do. And then when I was about 14 to 15, I started writing. This is going to creep some people out. That's when I started writing erotica for the first time. Had no experience in it. I knew nothing about it, but I knew that I could write it. And I got bullied one year. Someone got a hold of my binder. Every story went all over the school. And for whatever the reason, I signed every single story. So they knew it was me. And instead of getting bullied after that, it was, do you have any more? I brought back your story. Can you give me? I got every single story back, and every single person was asking for another one. Well, can you write one about this celebrity? Can you write one about that celebrity? And I was like, yeah, but I'm not gonna. You're mean. But that's how it really, really took off. That's where it really got started. So then I went to college for creative writing, and then that took the turn that I told you about. And then I graduated and tried to work a regular 9 to 5. That made me miserable, and I was like, maybe I'll just try this one more time. And here we are.
Have you ever thought about teaching? Because I watch your videos. You may not think I do, but I do. And your explanation on, I'm sorry, something that's in my eye. Your explanations, or your it's not explanation, it's your discussions, and you explaining the different genres, or your explanation of what editing is and all of that. It's so simple, but it's so needed. Have you ever thought about teaching?
I have, but not in a formal setting. I was doing it on Patreon for a little bit, but that it just got overwhelming. It wasn't that nobody was attending; it was that trying to manage that plus meet my own deadlines that I probably shouldn't have set so short for myself. But I didn't. I have a really strong conscience where it's not a good economy, and just having people paying for me to have a Patreon and then I may skip a month and not post anything didn't seem fair. So that was the only reason why I just said, let me just stall my Patreon right now until I'm able to focus on it. But I did host quite a few workshops there before Facebook turned to what it is. I was doing them there. And I did a couple on Instagram, but like I said, with social media, once that switched up, it changed. So I'm going to do my best to try to, formulate it in such a way that it um, is on YouTube to kind of help people out. But I haven't really been building that one yet. It's difficult just trying to maintain. That's cute. It's difficult trying to maintain a schedule, a writing schedule. But that's my ultimate goal, is to be able to teach, at least show it on YouTube, because everybody goes to YouTube Academy. So that's the goal, but nothing formal. Like I'll go to a workshop, I'll go to a convention, or something like that. And if someone asks me to do like a master class, I jump at the opportunity. I just love helping other people write. I don't see that as an opportunity to be competitive. I don't feel threatened by it at all. I don't know. I love being the muse that helps people who think they can't write a story or think they're never going to finish a story actually get it done.
Okay. Okay. Um, you're very multifaceted, and I love the way your mind works. What
Oh,
do you
thank
think
you.
about the current political climate where we have particular government officials that's supposed to be for the good of the people,
Mhm.
um, wanting to get rid of our history and books and try to create a situation where he's trying to take everything away from us? What do you think about that?
Um, So my mom was a narcissist, and there was no such thing as no to her.
Hmm.
She was always going to find a way to get what she wanted by no to her.
Hmm.
She was always going to find a way to get what she wanted by any means.
Hmm.
And that, as bad as that can be as a child being raised by that, you learn a few tricks of the trade. So for me, being told, oh, we're going to take Black history out of school. Well, was it ever really in there? When you think about what people were not learning, we're okay, who cares, take it out of school, you're not teaching anything. It's the same civil rights leaders, the ones that are passive. You never want to talk about the ones that aren't passive. um, and then I knew something was up long before our current, commander-in-chief, because they started removing photographs of what a certain demographic was doing to our people. And I said, I know what happened. They started recognizing their grandparents. I know that for a fact. I've been in classrooms, as a teenager, where these kids were recognizing their grandparents or their aunts or whoever. So, I mean, Malcolm X once said it, that the enemy should never be educating our children. So I feel like what's happening this year, this big transitional year, is that we are learning that we can't just sit here anymore. There is no reason why we should have been trusting Black history to those schools all this time, especially when Malcolm X specifically told us not to. We wear them on a t-shirt, we quote them, but we didn't do anything. So now with it being taken out of school, you start seeing the community with a fire to try and make sure that they teach. And then look what happened with TikTok. As soon as he did that, TikTok started teaching it, people started learning, people started researching. And the interesting thing was, it wasn't just us who learned about who we were, and it was them too. And there was a sense of betrayal when they didn't know, what happened to Nat Turner's remains, and they were disgusted, like, why wouldn't you tell us this? So I feel like, with every struggle comes a lesson, and the lesson is that we never should have let it go this long. We'll teach our own. I'm fine with that. We'll teach our own. And then as far as our books being banned, I don't have any confidence that that's going to be successful, because there's just too many people who read those kinds of books. But they are removing the books, like I said, that could empower any type of person other than them. So, but we live in the age of the internet. You can't ban everything. So, yeah, one way or another, we're going to get what we want. And one way or another, if I want my book out there, it's getting out there.
Right.
You don't stop no show. That's what my mom would always say.
And that's the truth.
And he's
That
only
is
in
the
for four
truth.
years. Yeah, he's doing a lot of stuff. You're only in for 4 years. I don't care what anybody says. You're out. You're getting evicted in 4 years. So I
You're
have a
fired.
hard time being stressed out about it.
As far as I'm concerned, you're fired now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's me.
You've already
Um,
received your final warning.
is it
Yeah.
pressure to is it pressure for you when releasing books to make sure that everything that you want said is said? Is it like, okay, well, I got it, my pen, because I mean, your pen is fire. So is it pressure for you to release when your pen is the shit?
It is. That's the only reason why I have a trilogy right now. People just demanding it, and so I did it. sometimes it pressures me to release too soon from my liking, not because it's, it's crappy, but I have a certain standard for myself. And when I feel like I haven't met it, it really irks me. It will never go away. But with everyone encouraging me to have my own websites, you one of those people, get your own website. It makes it so much easier to fix what I didn't like. Sometimes I'll change a complete ending. So be prepared for that if you're reading some of my books and go, I don't remember that happening to that character. Well, I fixed it. Okay. So being able to do that, there's a freedom of having your own website where, I kind of rushed and put that one out and people loved it, but they would have really loved it if I had done it the way I wanted to. So yeah, there's definitely pressure, but I kind of relieve that pressure having my own timeline now.
Okay, out of your catalog, do you have a book boyfriend, a book husband, and who he sliding with? Who is who? What book is he from? Because I need the people to know who the book husband is, who's the book boyfriend, and
So I
who.
have this aversion to spouses. So that one took me a while. And I actually wrote that question down because I didn't want to get stuck on it. But now I'm already kind of like changing my mind. Like, do I really want that person to be my husband? Because I know what I've written, because I know I've written some things that haven't come out yet about that particular character. And I'm like, But without spoiling, I'll stick with Father Damien Malawi. And yes, I said father. He was a priest. So he would be my husband. My book boyfriend would be Oliver Soundborn. That's from Bloodbound Melodies. He's a vampire, so not necessarily a healthy relationship. And then my side piece would be the Phantom, and he's the zombie in my extremely dark, extremely dub-con, non-con novel that I'm still afraid to release because I don't want to get in any trouble. But yeah, he would definitely be the side piece. He's
Now,
he's
why would you be in
he's into
trouble?
some stuff.
But why would you
Well,
be in
because I
trouble?
don't want it to hit Amazon and then get my whole account taken down. I've seen that happening, especially more so with our people. And I kind of use Amazon right now until further notice. I've been using Amazon to print my hardcovers and stuff like that. But um, I can, however, release it. I realized it maybe a week or two ago. I can just put it up on my website. You guys won't be able to get a paperback or a hardcover, but you'll be able to get that ebook. And most people like ebooks anyway, so that's how I plan to
Or
do it. That one should be
or
coming out
or
in April, I believe.
or
So
you can put it on Patreon.
I could. That is true. But I mean, for people who want the paperback and hardcover, they won't be able to get it because I'm just too worried. Not with Amazon.
Yeah,
I might be able to pull it off on draft to digital though. So I'm just looking at my options, making sure I don't do anything that gets me banned.
I hear you.
But other than that, yeah, he would definitely be my side piece. But that one, it's everyone says, "Oh, this book is dark." No, this book is dark. This book is very dark. Like I had to take a step back and say, where did you get that from and why? And are you going to put that back? Don't do that. Don't do that anymore, okay? That's bad. But he just kept coming back. Like, you're not done with me yet. And I would go, okay, okay, just one. Need some, just one. Are you sure? I think I deserve a series. And I was like, oh no, no.
He's trying to
So
tell you that he's trying to tell you what was getting ready to happen.
well, he's an aggressive guy, so
When you first saw your name on the cover of a book, what was that like?
I was very emotional. It didn't matter that it was self-published. I was very emotional in a positive way because um, now that I've done it, I'm like, oh, it's easy. But then you couldn't tell me that. I had no idea that it was easy, and it was just something that I always wanted to do. It felt like being told no, 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 and then all of a sudden a door opened up, and then realizing I don't have to go through traditional publishing. I could do it myself. It felt like I was sharing some artwork with the world, and whether people liked it or not, I got to do what I wanted to do, which was just put it out there and share it. And so it was such a wonderful feeling. And of course, the first book had typos and all of the things, but I did not care. Like, I think the chapters, um, sorry, an eyelash fell on my eye. The chapters were like numbers, so actual numbers. And then somewhere through there, I started writing out the words of the numbers. So it was like little things like that I didn't catch, but I didn't care. I cherished it. Someone asking me for an autograph made me feel so special. So it's an amazing feeling. And I hope that everybody who publishes their first book, however they publish it, especially indie publishing, realizes just how much went into that and how much of an accomplishment that truly is. Like it's a moment that you never really forget.
Right. I can't agree with you more. Um, let's talk about this industry.
Mhm.
What are the things you love about being an author? And what are some of the things you hate about it that you wish you can change?
I love that there is infinite possibilities in terms of creativity. I really love that any story that you think you can come up with, it's out there. And then every time you think a story's been told, there's something that's just tweaked just enough to where it's a completely different story. It's like being at a, at a poetry slam or something like that. Everyone has something to say, and it's, well, in general, unless they're stealing, it's incredibly unique. And that's one of the things I love most about it is the creativity and the just the flow of art in all different styles and different directions. And I would definitely say one of the things that I don't like is the lack of understanding of what it takes to create that art, the lack of impatience, the certain styles of criticism. Because I don't mind someone saying the book was slow, this didn't make any sense. Why'd you have this character do that? That's okay with me. But when it's just like, I don't like it because that's not what vampires would do. Then go write it. you know. So that's never fun when you have people who are too busy just being mean as opposed
Right.
to giving you some constructive criticism like, you know, this wasn't believable because you would get arrested for that. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know. I may use that information, I may not. And so you really have to learn not to take things personally as well. But yeah,
Right.
the negative part is definitely people who criticize just to criticize.
So, what to you are the ingredients to a good sex scene?
For the scene, well, for one of the things I say all the time is utilizing the five senses. You don't have to use all of them. You don't even have to use two at a time. When you utilize the five senses, you automatically throw the person into that bed or on that chair or in that car with that person. And then another element would definitely be using first person. You don't have to. But I find that if you really want the person to feel it in their special place when they're reading it, try first person and use the senses, and you will pull them in every single time, whether they want to be in it or not. They're there. They're engaging in that scene.
Because I mean, there was a certain scene. I was like, wait a minute. I'm outside with y'all, and why are you in the
Exactly.
bushes? I'm not in the bushes with y'all. Did the girl? Did he almost get caught?
Yeah,
Selena.
that was the thrill of it. That was the whole point. Yeah, that was the
I
thrill of
mean, it
it.
was
He knew
real.
he could have gotten caught, but now that she's at a certain point of her educational life, he can't get in trouble. So
I heard the hell out of that girl. What the hell? Um, what's the one thing that you will always include in your books?
a piece of myself for sure. I'm in there, lurking in every book.
Okay. Okay. Um, are character names hard for you?
No. I think a big part of that is because the characters I usually um, sometimes I choose a name based off of how it's going to sound if someone moans it, and then other times it's the meaning of the name that I'm looking for. And I have this weird obsession with names, so I'm always looking up the meanings of names. So I already know ahead of time what type of name I'm looking for, what it's going to mean, and it usually has some sort of link to the character's personality.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna try a new question with you. It's not new. I've used it before. Is it hard to write your standard of beauty, not society's standard of beauty, but is it hard to write your standard of beauty and people to really understand what how you see beauty with women?
No.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, but it's not difficult for me because I'm a bit arrogant about my writing. This is my world. I'm the god in this world, and if I say that this is what beauty is, that's what it's going to be. And if you don't like it, close the book. But you're not going to close the book because I'm going to describe that person in such a way that makes you now want that. I started writing under my actual name in 2022, maybe 2023. And immediately people were like, "You're gonna make her thick. You're gonna make her." Yeah, I am. And then it was kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. And then two or three pages in, it was like, oh, I forgot she was shaped like that. Like I forgot she was dark skinned. Like I forgot she had 4C hair. Exactly. You'll get over it. Trust me. I write it in such a way you'll get over it. You won't care.
We just had this conversation. I just had not me and you, but I just had a conversation this morning with another one of my book besties, and we were talking about that very same thing. If you're going to write a plus size girl, you can mention that she's plus size, but everything, she doesn't have to be pretty to be plus size.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
because your
And
hair
there's a
is
way to
coarse, that
describe
you don't
plus
have to
size
be.
versus.
Yeah. How do you do that? Because I think that, and I hope that this reaches some male authors. How do you write a scene? I mean, write a character that has coarse hair, a pretty face, a big butt, without always saying she has a big butt, a pretty face, and coarse hair.
You change how you describe it. So in my first novel, I don't think I actually said she had coarse hair. I may have slipped it in there somewhere around like the second act if I did, but I said that her hair floated like a cloud. We already know there's only one type of hair that does that. You know, it reached for the sun. Her hair reached for the sun. Um, it was in tight coils, you know, when she wet it or something like that. And you don't just say, well, she has a big butt. Okay, but what does that feel like? Again, that's where the five senses come in, you know? And I can't use any of the words that I used, but this person had never been with a black woman before in that first book. So he's describing her as something he's never experienced before a day in his life. And so in doing so, it's easier to find better adjectives. I tell men all the time who ask me, describe it as an experience, not as something you're looking at. So someone has a big butt. What does that feel like? What is that? What is it? How does it move? Because I can't see in your head. Create that for me. Well, hers is a little flabby, so it ripples. Then tell me that it ripples. She has dimples and I like to put my fingertips in it. Okay. Hey, that's what makes you feel good. Remember that if this is your main female character, there is a main male character who wants to tap that every chance he can. So if you can't imagine what it's like to want to be with someone like that, then don't write it. Because you have to convince us that this man, whatever your main character's name is, he has to look at her and just bite his lip, shake his head, start looking around to see if he finna get caught. If we could just do it real quick. Like this man has to be obsessed with what he's looking at. If we could just do it real quick. Like this man has to be obsessed with what he's looking at. He has to crave it. And so what does that look like? What does that sound like? What does that feel like? And if you're just not into that and you're writing it that way just for, you know, to get some browning points in the community, then you're not helping. You're going to make it worse. But if you
And I
truly
think that's it.
admire that figure, you'll write as a person who truly admires that figure. And even if you don't, you should be able to get into the head of your male character so that he can tell you why he thinks that's so fine and sexy to him.
And see, that's the thing.
Hmm.
Sh- Show me, but don't tell me.
Right.
I'm not living. I don't feel it. If you're
Hmm.
just saying, "Oh, she has a big butt and she has a pretty face and her hair is a coil, her hair is, she has 4C hair,"
Hmm.
you're not giving me an experience.
At
You just
all.
gave me an experience.
Yeah.
Now I don't need to know that she's plus size because I already know she's
Hmm.
plus size because of the description of how it felt.
Hmm. Yeah.
Why people don't understand that? Okay.
Because I think a lot of people, like I said, when it comes to the plus size community and full figure community, which they often mix up because you can be either or and both. I think that when it comes to that, they're doing it for points. They're not doing it because it's actually something that they actually see their character being. It was, oh well, I have to make her this size because then people will enjoy it better. I'm like, no, I've written skinny girls before, not very many, but I've written skinny girls before. And so, what does that fit the character, or are you just doing that for points? There's a novelette, like a short story that I've written called Poison, and that girl is thin but shapely. So she's not full figure. Well, she's full figured, but she's not plus size at all. And it wouldn't work for what she was up to, the type of scheming she was doing. It wouldn't work. She's plotting on men who want a certain body type. So I'm honestly, I can pick up on it really quickly if this was something that you meant to do, or if this was something that you're just trying to, get some extra points for.
I think. Thank you. I think it needed to be said. Thank you. I thank you for real. Seriously. Um, do you outline or are you just a pantser?
I'm a pantser, but I think there's a bit of misunderstanding about that. Everybody outlines, and if you're not, it'll show up. I could tell if you didn't outline. So the way it all started, Stephen King kind of went viral for this. He wasn't the only one who came up with it. Ernest Hemingway said it as well, but it's so if you're a planner or a plotter, whatever term you want to use, that means you can't even feel comfortable writing until you know where every place the story's gonna go. But if you're more like, say, Stephen King, for example, you have an idea, you have this passion, you just got to go with it. You've got to get it on paper. Well, once you get all that energy out, now you've got to go organize it. You got to make sure the story is going somewhere, and is it even worth writing? I couldn't tell you how many times I've written just a really hot, sexy scene or a really emotional breakup, and it doesn't go with anything else. Like, I don't care to write how they got together. I don't care to talk about what's going on in a personal life. I just wrote a really great scene, and it gets filed away. And then maybe one day when I'm writing on a novel, I'm like, I need a really painful breakup scene. And then I go back and I grab that scene. So I just write with passion, whatever's in my spirit. Sometimes I'll have a piece from the first half of the book, a piece from the finale, and then I'll go back and then organize that and make sure the story is going somewhere so I'm not wasting the reader's time. At some point, you have to outline. At some point, you have to, or it'll look just as disorganized as it was when you wrote it.
One of the things that I've heard is that when writing, your first draft is always shitty.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Why do people feel like it's supposed to be perfect?
Because it's their first time, and you want it to be perfect. You want everything to be perfect. And if you think about it, we're taught in school, you write your first draft and it's got to be near perfect so that the next draft is just editing. Did you misspell? Does the sentence run on too long? And I think that's part of the problem. We have to unlearn what they taught us in school about writing essays. It's a novel, not an essay. The first draft is, and we say this all the time, people get so mad at me when I tell them, well, what advice do you have? Write it down. No, but really, no, seriously, write it down, because you're correcting it in your head, you're rewriting the storyline in your head, but you don't have anything on paper or on the computer. Write it all down, get it all out, purge it out, and then we're going to go figure it out. It's like a puzzle. You dump all the pieces out, and then you go back and start sorting it. You can't just take one piece out at a time and expect the puzzle to come together.
Okay. I think listen, somebody done dropped it. Listen, gems. I've heard that before. Mm-hmm. When researching how to write a book, because obviously, I'm putting my hat in the ring for a few books. And I don't want it to be awful. Mm-hmm. So I researched. I spent 6 to 9 months researching all things, editing all things. And I didn't get a lot of information because it wasn't a lot of information at the time. Mm-hmm. That I was researching, but I got enough to kind of understand. And one young lady who stood out to me, she's like, your first draft is always going to be shitty. Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
It's literally just a regurgitation of your ideas. You just throw it all out there. Now you can, second draft is organizing it. Yeah. And then the third draft, and all the way up to however many drafts it takes, is editing for, proofreading type stuff.
Right. It's like
if we say that, more people will get that. We need to say that more, because I don't think people understand that. Get it on paper, then we fix it in the second draft. The second draft is the one where you need to be more concerned if you still don't have a story.
And she said it. She said it. She just gave y'all some gems for those that's writing the book. Listen. When I play this back, I'm gonna be taking notes. What genre that you haven't written in should you go back into writing that you want to write in, that you will try?
That I would like to try. Well, I won't count myself contemporary, because I technically did do that. I just didn't publish it. So I'm going to go with sci-fi. I'm going to try sci-fi, but specifically dystopian future type of sci-fi. Robots. I have a thing for robots and androids just being my little electronic slaves. So I don't know. There's some stories swimming around in there, and if I were to ever venture out, that would be what it would probably be about.
So my question is, with you saying that, do you feel like authors sometimes pigeonhole themselves into specific genres, and when they want to expand or try something different, they don't get the reception that they want?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not an interracial romance author, but I couldn't prove that based off of my catalog. Sometimes it's what I write, and it just happens to be the release schedule. And so now everyone sees me as the interracial romance author. And so you don't want to lose the customers that you have, the readers that you have. So you keep going because that's what they want from you, that's what they expect from you, but all the while you want to do something else. And by the time you get up the courage to say, you know what, this isn't what I wanted to do, let me get back to what I wanted to do, you have to start all over with a whole new audience. It's not that you failed, it's that okay, you've created a following based off of one style or genre. Now you're starting off in another one. Those people who are the target audience for that genre or, trope, they don't know you. So it's like switching careers at that point. And I think a lot of people will then just quit at that point and just stick to what they don't like, and it shows that they don't like having to write this particular style of book. You can tell when someone has a general disdain for their own artwork.
Okay. Um, what are three things that you have to have in order to write?
I'm gonna go with the one I use the most. So I have to have ice. I have this ice machine. TikTok got me. When I'm really deep in thought, I tend to bite down on my teeth really hard. So, and that's not a good thing. So I have ice so that when I'm really lost in thought, I'm just crunching on ice. I know it's a weird thing. Um, I have to have snacks because if I get hungry, I'll walk away from my computer and I won't come back. And then lastly, I have to have a soundtrack to what I'm writing so that when I fall out of it, it goes back. Not just music, it has to be an actual soundtrack. So if I'm writing a love scene, I need to have some good love songs. If I have a breakup scene, I need to hear some breakup songs. So I kind of have to have a soundtrack to keep my mind fully immersed in the type of writing that I'm doing.
Okay. Okay. What is something that your readers would be shocked to know about you?
Ooh, I don't think I've prepared for that one. Shocked to know about me. Um, I
What
don't
were you eating with chopsticks? That was shocking to me.
Okay.
Baby!
So there we go. Okay, I eat hot Cheetos with chopsticks. And the reason why I do that is because at the time that you saw me doing it, I had press on nails. And that little cayenne pepper stuff, chili powder gets caught in between your nail. Like there's no separation, but it's not an airtight seal. So it gets in there and then you go to scratch your eye and then now you're crying and yeah. And then also I when I would get acrylics and she would go and drill that off, you could see like barbecue. It would gross me out. I don't know what it is. It just gives me the icks. And so now that I have my real nails, I thought, oh, I shouldn't have to use that. No, I still do. It still gets in there. And so it seems weird, but yeah, eat your hot Cheetos with chopsticks, change your life.
I
Tell everybody I talk,
fell all the way out. That shocked the hell out of me. You
but it
was
works. You don't
like,
have
are
any
you
orange
eating?
fingers. You don't have no saucy fingers. You don't have, powder color on your fingers. Try it. Change your life.
Child, that had me hollering. It's not that it was anything bad because I was like, she onto something. Oh, she is onto something. Let's ask a few more questions about you.
Uh-oh.
Um, describe yourself in one word.
Oh. Chaotic.
I'm gonna say teacher
Oh, that's nice.
because you know how to not everything, but you
Hmm.
know how to explain,
Hmm.
especially in this literary world, the things that need to be explained. Because sometimes the readers be over here acting a whole donkey. Sometimes these authors be over here acting a whole donkey. You be like, hold on, let me explain for you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say you are a teacher.
Oh, that's better.
Um, name something that everybody loves but you hate.
Hmm. I don't know. That's a good one. Okay. And this is not an all thing. This is in general thing. Urban romance. Now I don't mean that like I hate all of it. There's certain things I hate about it, and other people seem to overlook it. I'm a big fan of true crime, and so people who love urban romance, I mean, it's good. I don't have to tell you all the reasons why I like it. But if you ruin the criminal aspect of it, you lost me because it's 50-50, right? It's the romance and it's the crime that's part of the urban. This is the crime. And so if you ruin the crime for me, then I'm done. I don't want to read it. And I think what I hate is that urban romance gets a pass to have poorly thought out criminal activities. But then, the romance is hot, okay? There'd be some things I'd be wanting to try, but I'm like, can we get the crime right though? Because it is 50% of it. So I do hate how urban romance will get a pass on really planning out the criminal aspect and the believability of it. I mean, it's fictional. I get it. But can we make it mildly believable to where this could happen on Earth 4 or something like that? But I think that's probably what it is for me. It's just, can you give just a little bit more believability for me? So I don't get
What?
yanked out of it when they get 2 years for murking somebody. I'm like,
I'm
that
gonna
wouldn't
need you
work.
to research that.
Yeah,
That is a big
yeah.
thing. Authors, including, I'm talking to myself. I'm not a published author yet.
Mhm.
However, if you don't know, research it
Yes.
because we can tell as
Hmm.
readers. We can tell if you're saying that this basketball player is a center. I mean, he's a center,
Hmm.
but he's defending. He's not shooting any baskets. Then you didn't research his role.
Right.
His
Right.
goal is to shoot.
And I think it's frustrating because we very quickly become the bad guy when we say that in our reviews. There are some bangers out there. I'm not going to name them, but there's some really top selling, books by Black authors, and everyone's like, this book is bad. I love this book." I'm just like, would a person who has seizures, would they be driving across country? The nurse didn't think to say something about that, or, "Oh, I just stormed the governor's office." You would have made it past the door. On God, you would have made it past the door. You'd be on a shirt and some clouds by noon Thursday, and it's like, that doesn't mean that I have hate for the author. It doesn't mean that I'm because somebody might think my stuff is crap, but I feel like it makes it difficult to try to give adequate criticism and adequate reviews, if we just keep giving people a pass on not doing their research. Because I can say, I love this book, but they clearly didn't do any damn research. I'm still going to give it 4 stars or 5 stars, but don't expect it to be believable. People will hear that I said don't expect it to be believable and won't hear that I gave it 4 or 5 stars. So it's kind of like a domino effect, or more so, I should say, a snowball effect of, you don't do your research. I feel compelled to call that out. And then now I'm the bad guy for not looking the other way because you kind of didn't put the effort that you needed to into your book.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do you feel like readers should, and this is for authors in a chat, do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like it would be advantageous for you if readers put something in their reviews, if you're reading the reviews, that this is not as believable as you said, or I wish you would have researched this because actually this is supposed to happen?
Um, it depends on how they say it. So there's a way to say things. So if someone says to me, "Yeah, you really nailed the whole actor thing, but I mean, there's no way that she would have gotten the part that quickly, blah, 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 because of blah, blah, blah." And it doesn't really matter. The book is written. I may or may not take that advice, but someone else reading it might say, "Okay, the part about the actress hooking up doesn't really make sense, but I don't care about that. I'm still going to read it." Sometimes it compels people to read it anyway. And other people, they go, "Okay, I'll keep that in mind. So I won't let that be something that bothers me when I read it." And then
Right.
sometimes what I really enjoy is when people bond in book reviews with each other. You're having a discussion about my book. It's kind of like a Kim Kardashian thought process. As long as you're talking about my book, I don't care. But if you're doing it in a facetious type of way where you just make a remark like that would never happen, and then no follow up, no, I think there was another author here. I don't want to mention her name just in case, but she writes sci-fi, and someone said something like, "You need to research IUDs because her alien was well endowed and could reach every part of this girl." And I'm thinking, why would she need to research IUDs to sleep with an alien? It's not
Because
making
there's an alien who is
what are you
screwing
talking about?
an
But
alien.
but that's all the person said. So we're all sitting here trying to understand what the point was too. So this was not believable. You need to research IUDs. The girl didn't even have birth control in the book. So why are you adding birth control that wasn't there? Did I miss something? Now we're all confused and befuddled. So at least, if you're going to criticize, give me a foundation. I had a problem with this person driving across country because they have seizures. Everybody knows this person has seizures. He drops out of nowhere. There's a nurse in the car. Why was he driving? That's valid. right? But if you say, oh, you missed the part, someone might say, oh, you missed the part where they said they gave him a shot to deal with the seizure, so he was fine. Oh, okay, I missed that. Thank you. There's a difference between constructive and just talking crap, like, throwing something and then hiding your hands all of a sudden. That stuff I don't like, but I mean, what are you going to do about it? I've got a bad review because I did the Black Wife Effect video. I got a bad review because a girl was mad that I didn't basically tell the same story in the second book that I told in the first book. So with Confession and Covet, the first two of the trilogy, the first book, you have this guy who would just do anything for this woman. I mean, his nose is wide open for this girl. And then the second book, it's not his point of view, and it's not the girl's point of view. It's the sister who was on the outside looking in, and she's like, y'all both trash. And I'm gonna just tell you to your face. And so it's like, no, he's a good person. And I have to remind them, he was never a good person. Like, did you not
Right.
just read the book? It was a whole love affair. Like, what are you talking about? So, that is one of my favorite negative reviews. She's like, this book is trash. I wish I could get my money back. He would never do that. And I'm like, baby, you don't know what he would never do because he lives in my head, not yours.
Exactly.
But I
Exactly.
loved it because she gave so many reasons why she hated it. So I was like, oh, I love it. Thank you. And then people bought more of the books because she said why she hated it. So,
It's interesting that we're having this conversation because I think that this conversation needs to be had.
mhm.
Sometimes I mean, I'm not going to include myself yet because I haven't actually written a whole complete book. Well, I have, but it's not. It's our first draft.
Mhm.
Um, I think that sometimes people forget that you have to do research.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes your editor is going to catch it, sometimes they're not. But even if you're not paying for like a developmental edit and you're just having her proofread, you're not, the editor's not going to tell you that
Mhm.
or shouldn't tell you that because they're not being paid for that. But I just want people to know that even if you question it or if it makes sense to you, just kind of just make it more believable. Like with that particular book that you're talking about, and I understand what you're saying that
Mhm.
he drove cross country, but again, as a as a bad boy, I'll say that. Um, they just do what the hell they want to do, and that's what should have been expressed, whether he had
Yes.
a license or not. Because if you have those type of issues, they take your license.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know
And
what I'm
it's
saying?
not even, you don't even have a say in it. It's like somehow that manages to get around HIPAA. It goes straight from the hospital to the DMV. Like, nope,
Exactly.
and he shouldn't want to drive because he did have a goal. He did want to reach his destination, so he shouldn't want to drive. So, but
But
that's
then
just the
you
most
have these
recent
old
examples
honorary ass
because.
men that I think had it been said that way, I get
Hmm.
what you're saying.
Hmm.
But
And you can
some
show that. You don't even have to say, you can show that. Man, you shouldn't be driving. You having seizures. Ain't nobody gonna tell me I can't drive my car that I fixed up. I'm driving it myself. And then you can have him have an accident, or
right.
a near accident and say, okay, you ready to listen? Okay, I guess so. There's and that's what, two, three
There's
sentences?
so many ways that you could have
Yeah.
said that one thing where um showing someone that, not telling them but showing them
Hmm.
that they know that they're not supposed to be driving,
Yeah.
but they're
And then
doing it
here's the other
anyway.
things. I need authors to stop assuming we're just gonna allow it. And I think what it is we as black readers, black book reviewers, we don't want to hurt our own people. I'm not going to tell you that your book sucks, but on some level you got to tell them that the book sucks. You know what I mean? That you don't have to do it publicly, there's decorum, but at some point if you're not telling these people, girl, if you don't get an editor next time, if you don't tell these people, that, no, no. Now if you tell us in your like your synopsis or something like that, like, this is a highly unrealistic, it's meant to be this, oh, okay, well then I'm not going to hold you to a certain standard. We have to be able to tell our people, baby, this ain't it. And then at the same time, we don't want to embarrass our people, and I think it's going to be a little while before we find that balance, because sometimes just trying to be constructive, people say, well, why would you poop, I'll say, on that person when they're trying to, because you don't want to do that. We got enough people doing that to us, but at some point it's like, okay, I ain't gonna say nothing in public, but I just want to make sure you know in private, girl, that wasn't it, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I try and tell. I'm a big component of that, and I don't know why people. I've gotten good, you know, people saying, okay, I agree with that, and I've been like, they were like, yeah, I did that, this is Nicole over here.
Yeah.
I do what I want to do. And if I found that it's something that could be fixed, I'd be like, hey, I don't know if you know this. If you're open for this suggestion, I saw this and this is where I saw it. I give them where it is. Not so much like I want to so badly inbox Jacquel J and tell her why the fuck you in that book like that. That's
Don't
my
tell me,
opinion.
because I'm only on Capone too. I'm just
I'm
not a
not I'm
step.
not I'm not telling you anything. I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is that's what I want to do.
Hmm.
But I feel like, okay, it's enough people telling you that you really don't need
Yeah.
me.
And
I
I'm sure
am
this
going
is
to
her
inbox her
happy
and
time
ask
right
her.
now.
I'm like,
She's really doing great. You don't want to be, now's not the time, you know?
exactly. But I am going to inbox her and ask her where to send my therapy and my hospital bill because I've slid down this door 17 times.
I can't wait to get to that point because, there was a lot of urban romance books that I was told, like, girl, this is the stuff that you like. I was like, ooh, okay, let's read it. And I was like, girl, what the hell was this? Why'd you give me this? Why? I wasted 2 hours. You read that book in 2 hours? Yes, I read it in 2 hours and I want them 2 hours back. But then they were like, okay, but for real. For real, for real. Capone's gonna get you. And then why did everybody tell me that basically I wouldn't like Capone, but I needed to get through it to get to the next book? And I was like, okay, well, what am I not gonna like? Girl, it's slow. Okay. I'm like, okay, thank you for preparing me. It's slow. Gotcha. So I'm reading it and I'm like, ooh, this is well paced. I love this. And they're like, well paced, yes. It doesn't always have to be getting it in the first page or something like that.
It doesn't.
Every character that I learned about, I wanted to know about. So by the time I'm finding out that this is a cliffhanger, and I should have known. I mean, there's like three Capone books. We're about to go to Capone 2. I'm like, I'm ready. Let's go because I already know. I want to know who is this and who is he to you. But I thought it was perfectly paced, and my only criticism was that there wasn't a conflict between the two main characters. Their relationship was too perfect. They needed something to really jar them. I mean, there was a little bit of a something. You didn't call me. You were no call, no show. And I'm like, no, that's not it. That's not it. It's got to be something like I thought you was with that girl at the club, but it was a misunderstanding. Like it's got to be something. And I think had she done that, that book would have been an ace, like just immediate. So, but just that brings me to another point I wanted to make is when you refer people books, don't just think, well, you like urban romance or you like paranormal or you like sci-fi, that I'm just gonna like it. You have to think about who was the author targeting when they wrote that book. Because when I said I loved Zoo Boys, but I gave the second book a 2 star, and what made everybody want to fight me is I gave Chevy a 2 star. I was like, I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. Y'all told me I was gonna love it. I did not love it. I was very disappointed. And then it has nothing to do with the author. The author is a wonderful author, but it was because I'm not the target audience. And I said that throughout the review. I am not the target audience. Everybody else is going to give this 5 stars, but I am not the target audience because I'm too busy analyzing the crime. I'm like, but you just pew pew somebody in the middle of the street and got in a car and drove off. Ain't no cops looking for you. Like, is there some sort of corruption I need to know about? Because from what I heard, the corrupt cop is gone. So how you just pew pew in the middle of the street with all these, you leaving witnesses now? Is that what we doing? So I wasn't the target audience, and I really try to make sure that I say it until I'm blue in the face, so that other people who are reading it, if they see that I gave something a low review, they're gonna say, "Yeah, but it wasn't meant for you." So that means I'm gonna like it more. But sometimes these authors, they hear 2 star, they hear I didn't really like it, and they're like, "Well, my book is terrible. I should just quit writing." No, what did I say? I am not your target audience. And so understand that there's an accomplishment in getting a person who is not your target audience to even finish the book because it wasn't meant for them. And for them to have anything positive to say about it, every positive thing they say is a win for you. So don't take it personally. Just know that there are some reviews that should matter to you and there are some reviews that shouldn't. And the fact that it even was read by somebody that you knew wasn't going to like it, I mean, that says a lot. That means that you might want to ask them, well, what made you want to read the book? The cover. Now you know you've got good book covers. What made you want to read the book? Well, the synopsis said that it was going to be this and that in there, and that's what brought me in. But what turned me off was this, that, and the other. So now you've got tips on how to broaden your audience. So please don't take it personally. If I say I didn't like this book, just remember I'm also telling you I wasn't supposed to.
See, she just dropped some gems. She just dropped a good gem right there.
I need to pick up these gems and go sell them.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you.
Just dropping them everywhere. No, I'm kidding.
This girl, a book. We need a book.
I wrote a writing journal. It's a 2025 writing journal because it's as much advice as I could get in for the year 2025. So if you're a new author and you're learning how to write, that's everything I can get you for the first year. Your second year, it's going to be a lot more complex, the 2026 one. So that one is teaching people the three act structure. A lot of people keep trying to reinvent the wheel and they just struggle with it because you don't need to. So I teach the three act structure in there. I teach how to develop a protagonist, an antagonist, a little bit of a villain, because the antagonist and villain aren't necessarily the same thing. I teach character development. I think one of the biggest issues we have with indie authors is they don't develop the character. The character is the same person they were on page 1 as they are on page 312. And that's not normal. You have to be changed in some way, shape, or form by the people around you. And if nothing changes you, then it's not really much of a story. It's like this happened, this happened, this happened, the end. So I teach all of that in that book. And there's, you can make photocopies, printouts, or whatever, so that every time you write a book, if you go to outline, you go to plot, you can look at your papers when you feel stuck and go, you know what? He was supposed to do this, that, and the third so that he could become this type of a person. Well, then you can make sure your book stays on track. So yeah, and I've been sending it to some people for free because I just want people to understand that it's not impossible. It's not as hard as you think it is to write a book. What's making it difficult is realizing that you don't have to make it as hard as you're making it.
Okay. I heard her. Yeah, I better get in that inbox to figure out how to get it.
Mhm.
Describe, okay, what's your definition of a great American novel?
A great American novel is something that changes you or the way that you see things. It sticks with you long after you're done reading it. It's something that you share with everyone, something you treasure, something where you treasure the used up, folded up copy as much as you treasure the autographed, pristine copy of it. It really has a lifelong impact on your life.
Okay. And what examples would you have of a great American novel?
Well, pretty much anything by Toni Morrison, to be honest, because she writes, even though she's writing from our perspective, to write it, it's like a different piece of what it's like to be a certain type of American in this country. And I've kept all of her books, and some of them I've read 2 and 3 times. So for me, pretty much anything by Toni Morrison. And it could be something as simple as The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton for some people. That book went across cultural lines. That book went across just all sorts of demographics. People read that book and they held on to it. And that makes it a great American novel. It doesn't have to be what they teach you in school to be like some classic, you know, some, I don't know. I don't know how to really describe it. There's some classic, what they teach you is classic literature that doesn't affect anybody else. The only
But
professors
then,
to like them. You know,
but then,
Like Quasim would be a great American novel, for example, especially when you consider, the urban way of life that the characters in her series are living, the Delgado family is living. That's part of America. It's interesting. So my niece last night, she had a African American heritage performance. And so when I heard heritage, I'm like, oh, well, how are you doing this? Oh, we're breaking it down by decade. So they had one girl with an afro, like the Pam Grier. You had another girl with the salt and pepper. And they were just so adorable. These are like 14, 15-year-olds. And so they're doing a great job. And the teacher got mad at them and said, like, oh, that's stereotypical. And I said, no, that's culture. That's a part of African American culture. That's not African culture, which has a bunch of countries within it. That's a whole continent. This is African American culture. And so stop thinking that, culture, American classic is usually this type of a novel. If it's a part of American culture, whether it be African American, Asian American, then it's potentially, a great American novel, depending on how well it's written and how well it affects the people around you.
okay, that's fair. I like that definition. I do. I do. Um, Fill in the blank. Blank is
Okay.
life.
Um, Love is life.
My pen is
God.
okay.
It creates everything. It's in charge of the world that it creates. I get to say what happens. I get to say what doesn't happen. I get to say who lives, and I get to say who dies. So my pen is God.
And that's the truth. Um, you ready to pop your shit?
Yes, I am.
So, ma'am, are you coming outside in 2025?
No. I'll be outside, but not for the reasons that you want me to be outside. I am new to the whole book tour and book event world. I didn't discover it until about the end of 2024, which meant that all the tickets were already selling out for 2025. So ironically, I'm already leaving the literary world, so I won't be outside until I'm done. So Mama said I got to finish my work, then I can go outside. So I really won't be seen until 2026. My first stop will be the Boozy Book Tour in Las Vegas, unless of course there's no space. But yeah, I just didn't get the information in time. Otherwise, I would be out all year. So I'm new to that whole thing. I think if I wasn't so new, I'd be out. Like, you wouldn't even be able to get me back inside, especially in the South. It seems like the South has a much more of a an appreciation for the literary world. Because I mean, if you guys are looking for book tours, please come to California.
Say
Please
it
come
ain't
out
so.
west,
So
because there's just nothing. We out here, but y'all ain't out here. And I'm gonna say something mildly controversial because that's what I do and that's how I live. I'm so sick and tired of the Black book events in California being about slave narratives and the struggles of life. We deal with that every day. Can I just have a convention where I read about aliens who insert tentacles in places that you didn't know they could be inserted? I want to read about the vampire. I want to read about the zombie. I want to read about the no count boyfriend that I just can't let go of. I'm so tired of only being considered a great Black author if we talk about our struggles. It's almost like it's, I don't know if I can say that word, torture corn. That's what it feels like. And when I looked up Black book events, because I was like, oh, I missed the ones for 2025. Let me see what's in California. And every single time it was either a Black book event or featuring Black authors, it was always the struggles of racism. And I'm like, I ain't saying you don't need to tell that story, but we're tired. I was tired, boss. I need to feel good. Make me feel good. Write me a book that touches me on the inside part, because this ain't.
I'm working on a few things.
Oh, that sounds good. I would love to read your work and mentor you through it, because you give so much. It'd be fun
No,
to
I'm
get.
talking about events.
Oh, events? Okay, I'm gonna be there. Just come
I'm
knock on
working
my
on a few
door.
things. I'm working
Drive
on a
down
few
the street and
things.
knock on my door. I'm there.
Y'all come on to California because California. So we have a Napa trip in
Hmm.
2026. I'll tell you guys more about it after she pops her shit. And then we have something in 2027 in Reno.
I'll be there.
So
Those are all the pit
Reno's
stops
only
for us Californians. That's how we hang out.
yeah. So it's that far. So where can people find you?
So I listened to you and I got a website. I don't have a .com yet, but I'm working on that. So I am migrating all of my books from Amazon. So my name is R.L. Raintree. There's a space between rain and tree. So if you can't find me, that's probably why. My website where you can go find my works where as I'm sending them over there is payhip.com/author R.L. Raintree. Make sure you count your R's. Sometimes you leave off one. And so what I'm doing is I'm improving the content before it moves over. So you're getting special editions, behind the scenes information of why I wrote the scene that way, soundtracks. So when I say it's a special edition, it really is a special edition. I'm not just calling it that. I'm updating the book covers because some of those are so outdated. So you can get the best content on my website, but I understand the apprehension. So there's still some stuff on Amazon. But don't get comfortable because I'm pulling everything off of Amazon. Everything will only be available on my website, such as, for example, the DubCon, non-con book that I'm terrified to release because y'all gonna want to put me in that white place with the padded walls after you read it. But it'll only be available on my website. I do have a Patreon, although it's paused right now because I haven't been keeping it up. But that's also author R.L. Raintree. Of course, you can find me here, and chances are you've heard my voice on an audiobook or two. I cannot confirm or deny that. All right, but yeah, I'm everywhere and nowhere somehow at the same time.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Before you go, I have two questions. If you can invite five people to dinner, five writers, five authors,
Mhm.
either or in a mix, to dinner, dead or alive, who would they be?
Well, of course, Stephen King, Toni Morrison, Jack Forbes, Donald Goines, and Greg Saris.
I want to be there. Only for Donald Goings. I
Yeah,
just got his
I
whole
love me some Donald
collection.
Goines, so yeah.
Shannon just sent me his whole
I
collection.
saw. I was so jealous. I had to click out the live. I was bad. I was like, I want it. I want it.
um, what advice would you give to authors, new or old? To an author.
First and foremost, and I'm going to say it again. I don't care how many times you guys have heard it. Write it down. Like, seriously, write it down. Edit it later. Write it down. Don't stop. Number two, if you're new, turn the music off. I know that's hard to do. Turn the music off. What you need, if you're going to have music, you need music that forces you to focus on what you're writing. So if you're singing along, you're not focused. If you're dancing, you're not focused. Just because us veterans are, twerking and doing all the things doesn't mean that you're ready to do that if you're new. So turn the music off if you can, or listen to something that is more calm, peaceful, jazz, no lyrics, so that you can focus on what you're writing. Remember to utilize the five senses in any scene. It doesn't just have to be an intimate scene, because when you use senses in any scene, it doesn't just have to be an intimate scene, because when you use the five senses, you pull us into your book, whether you realize it or not. Set a schedule when you write. And I don't mean just, I'm going to write today, I'm going to write tomorrow. Set a schedule and set a routine. It really does affect you. Whether you're burning incense before you start writing, you get your snacks like me, you get your ice like me. Set up your workstation every single day. Set it up at the same time, take it down at the same time, and you will train your body to write, even on days when you don't feel like writing. Maybe you're not feeling too well. You will want to write. You'll have this itch to write, and you'll definitely finish your project a lot sooner.
There you go. All right, so let me pop my shit for a second. Um, on Sunday, I have the naughty novelist herself as well, because this one naughty too. India T. Norfleet, and on Monday, she's at 5 p.m. Hold on, I'm sorry. She's at 5 p.m. No, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mm-hmm. So we have India T. Norfleet. And then on Monday, we have Siobhan, and she's at, I believe, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, at 5 p.m. Pacific. Next week, we have, on Wednesday, we have Storm from Black Girl Tired Book Talk. We talking all things, whatever. It is a whatever conversation. It's just whatever.
That's gonna be a good one.
it's gonna be crazy. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Thursday, we have Miss Jazzy at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Friday, we have Elle Osborne. She will be joining us from Germany. So while it's 5:30 here, it is 2:30 there, a.m. And she's going to come on, and we're going to talk about Marina's motif and all the foolishness she be writing about, because it be straight foolishness. So let me pop my shit and do this little lightweight commercial. I don't know if you all know this, but I am officially representing Storm as her PR and management company. Oh, Lord. My son scared me. Sorry. I officially represent, I do the PR for author Sharice C. Carr. If you're interested in joining her team, her street team, interested in joining an art team for her, DM me, and then you'll see all the things that she has going on. It's going to be in our Geneva, not ours, but in the Geneva app for Sharice C. Carr's Book Buzz. DM me if you're interested, so I can send you an invite. The link will be in my bio, probably either by today or tomorrow. I just know I have to work. So hopefully today. Events. So my next event that I will be attending will be the Boozy Book Tour Chicago. I'm super excited about that. So that's in October of 2026. I think it's the 15th and the 16th. Don't quote me, but that around that time. I will be at the Las Vegas Boozy Book Tour in 2026. That will be in February 2026. In 2026, myself and Good Girl Reads, LaShawn, we are putting on our very first event in the book space. We will have a trip to Napa. It's a weekend in Napa. Books and we will have a trip to Napa. It's a weekend in Napa. Books, wine and books, or something like that. I can't remember what she called it, but we will have the flyer out soon. But that will be Labor Day weekend of 2026. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have stuff to do all 3 days.
Yes.
So be prepared for that. And then in Labor Day weekend 2027, we will be doing another event called Pages in Black. It's a retreat, not a retreat, a teachable weekend for authors, and then is a book event for the readers. So that will be in Reno, Nevada. More details for that will come. Let's see what else I have.
Pull up and drop some gems to that one.
Yes. I sound like Coming to America. Yes. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would like to monetize on that so I can do even more stuff for this. This interview will be on YouTube, hopefully by Monday.
Cool. And then before I go, because I completely forgot, I just finished my trilogy. It's called the Trinity Trilogy. This was the accidental series. It was supposed to be one book, the first book, Covet. So it's 3 books, Covet, Confession, and Communion. You guys have been watching me edit that live for the past 2-3 weeks. I had insomnia, so that went kind of smoothly. So the first book is about an adulterous affair, whereas the second book has, we'll say, some alphabet letters in a particular schmexual community. So we don't get in trouble. Starts with B, ends with N. And that one also has priest kink in it. So if it affects, offends your sensibilities, please don't read it because I don't want to hear about it. And then Communion is the conclusion to it all. I left no loose ends. You won't be asking questions. There's no cliffhangers. If you don't know the answer to it, it wasn't meant. You're focusing on something. If you don't know the answer to it, it wasn't meant. You're focusing on something that didn't matter. I can trust it. Yeah, no. So I made sure this series was done. I am not coming back to this series. It's definitely done. If you go to my website, my PayHip website, payhip.com/Author Aura Raintree, you can pre-order the book box. This is a special edition collector's book box. There are only 10 being produced, and then that's it. There's no more. You will get all 3 books, hardcover, autographed, and numbered so that they can be collectible. So they'll be 1 through 10, number 1 of 10, 5 of 10. The box is a gold box, much like Willy Wonka's golden ticket. So the box is beautiful on your shelf. There are some gifts that I cannot mention on TikTok that will be in there, also collectible. So since this is kind of like my farewell tour, and I'm ending it with the book that I started it with, the series that I started with, I wanted to make sure that the book box was collectible. And then, of course, you can also get my writing journal if you like all of the tips I'm giving you about writing. Also on that same website, it's a PDF, so you can download and print. If you don't want to, burn on paper, you can always use any type of e-reader, whether it's your Kindle, your iPad, it doesn't matter, and you can just, use it as a visual aid. So definitely head over to my website. That's where all of my information is. That's where my blog information is. If I go on a book tour, that's where you're going to find out first. And of course, you can click the link on my bio, go straight to my Amazon page, but just know that at some point that's going to be gone, and my work will only be available on my PayHip.
All right. Also, before we go, I want to mention, make sure that you're following Black Girl Book Talk on TikTok. Make sure that you're following Black Girl Tired Book Talk on YouTube. Also, make sure, if you're looking for an editor, Mark by Ty Lee is an editor. She helped write, she didn't help write Crossing. She edited. Get that right, Nicole. She edited Crossing.
Don't get her in trouble.
Number one. She edited Crossing. And she's edited a whole bunch of books of authors that you love. Number 3, if you're looking for an online bookstore owned by a Black woman, Shannon. DFW Literary. I mean, literarydfw.com. Dot square dot site, I think it's dot square dot site. Shannon has all the books that are independently owned. So make sure you check out Shannon. The link is in her bio. Number 4, if you're looking for custom made tea, the Urban Tea Room is here.
Woohoo!
Huh?
The Urban
I
Tea
got
Room
my
is
box.
making the tea from my book as well. So when
See?
that drops, you'll be able to have some tea. And it's really important that I acknowledge that she's doing that because a lot of the series is in England, and you know how they love their tea. So
See? 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 So I got my box. I will be doing an unboxing later. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow when I get off work. And then the 5th one is if you're looking for, it's 2 more. If you're looking for graphic tees, Mika G and her graphic tees, hit her up on TikTok. The link is in her bio because I just ordered my t-shirt. The last one is if I have merch. So please go to my website. The link is in my bio. I have hoodies, t-shirts, and coffee mugs. So if you're interested in merch, please hit the link in my bio. Go to my website, and that's where my store is. And then the person that made my merch is Latoya Watts. So she's here on TikTok as well. So please hit up Latoya if you're looking for merch. Author merch. She does a lot of author merch. So that's it. Thank you for coming on.
thank you for having me. This was really a lot of fun.
First of all, when I tell you dropped so many gems today, and it was such a teachable, and I wanted you to do this, not just because you wrote books, but because you teach in a way that people can understand. So thank you so much. And I'm hating to see that you're leaving this space, not permanently, but how dare you?
I mean, you got till Halloween, and then that's when I'll end it. But I mean,
Well,
there'll still be some stuff that comes
we'll
out.
still be mutuals, right?
Yeah, of course, assuming the app is still here. I'll be here as long as there's apps. I'll find whatever
Exactly.
app everybody's on, and I'll be there. I mean, push comes to shove, I'll be on YouTube because, as far as I can tell, that's not going nowhere. So,
That part.
yeah, I'll definitely still be here. I'll be helping people. So I've been trying to let people know, get a hold of me now. Follow all my socials now because once I'm done writing, you really won't see my content too much after that. So.
Okay. Also, one more thing before we go. If you're looking for the best book club ever, Books We Love to Discuss is my book club. I am part of this book club. The link is in my bio. You can join our Geneva. As long as you come to read books and you leave that drama wherever else it's supposed to be, we would love to have you. I know that we read, we have Monday sprints and Tuesday sprints. So Mondays is Messy Mondays, and the book is normally messy. And on Tuesday, it is Tasty Tuesday, so the book is kind of tasty. And then on Saturday, they review the book of the week. So make sure if you're looking for a good book club, hit the link in my bio and join the girls at the Books We Love to Discuss book club. That's it. Thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for joining us.
Bye,
We
everyone.
will see
Thank
you
you.
on Sunday. Happy reading.
Bye.